Welcome to episode 263 of the 2 Minute Warning. Today I'm looking at how the Los Angeles Chargers can build around Justin Herbert heading into the 2021 NFL season. I think Justin Herbert was the biggest surprise of the NFL this season, just being an amazing rookie quarterback. I think he deserves Rookie of the Year, winning his last 4 games. Yes, he doesn't have the best record for the season overall, but he has had some challenges along the way, such as coaching staff being kind of not the best coaching staff by any means, and then defense and offense both battling injuries. So due to the circumstances, due to being in the AFC West, facing Patrick Mahomes, Derek Carr, and Drew Lock isn't really a worry at this point, but also having a tough schedule between the Buccaneers and Saints, and losing a bunch of close games due to their kicker and coach losing a bunch of close games. I think the Chargers, even with a healthy season, could have gone to the playoffs this year, and I think they're a lock for the playoffs next year as long as they do a couple of the right things. Don't need an outstanding offseason, but just a couple of right things, and I think they're ready for the playoffs. A couple main factors the Chargers definitely need to examine this offseason and definitely address. Clearly, they fired their head coach, Anthony Lynn. He obviously needs a replacement, whether it be Urban Meyer, Bill Belichick, Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs offensive coordinator, Brian Dable, the Bills offensive coordinator. Doesn't have to be one of those 4 guys, but to me, those are the top 4 candidates. Bill Belichick, that would be awesome. However, your offense and whole entire team would have an entire change just in how they run things. We know Bill Belichick is a very strict coach, while LA is kind of a fun, do whatever you want place. I think Bill Belichick would definitely get that team in shape. Not to say they aren't, but definitely put them in a best possible position. Urban Meyer, I think he could possibly be a good pickup. I think he's more likely going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but he could be a big pickup. However, he doesn't have NFL experience, so there definitely is some risk there. Eric Bieniemy, that would be a great edge when they play the Chiefs twice a year, knowing inside and out of the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes, that would be a great edge for the Chargers in that division matchup. And he's a Super Bowl offensive coordinator. We know he has talent overall. And then Brian Dable is making a case to be a top 3 offensive coordinator in the league right now and could go on a Super Bowl run this year. So lots of great options at the coaching position. I hope they just don't replace Anthony Lynn with another Anthony Lynn. And what I mean by that is just an average coach and another Joe Schmo that's just going to do the same exact thing. They need to step up and get the right guy for that head coaching position. Then the next biggest thing is really their health. Like I said, if they were even healthy this year, they had Derwin James, they had Casey Hayward, Austin Eckler never got banged up a little bit, Joey Bosa never got banged up a little bit, same with Melvin Ingram. They had a completely healthy team. Keenan Allen himself, Mike Williams himself, everyone has really kind of dealt with some injuries here. They had a completely healthy team. I don't want to, like I said, I do think they could have made the playoffs. I wouldn't lock it in and bet that they would have, but I definitely think that would have been a 7-9 team that could have became 9-7, 10-6, and 11-5. I think there's a lot of close games this year that could have been just one play away, and if they had one extra player, one solid player, one extra X factor that was healthy, they would have had a lot more wins this year. So like I said, between Derwin James, Austin Eckler, et cetera, I think a healthy team, just working on that in the offseason. I know that's no one really doesn't want a healthy team. It's not like they can really control that, but that is one of the biggest factors heading in the offseason, especially with their O-line, Brian Bulaga and Trey Turner. That would give Justin Herbert extra time in the pocket and more protection, throw the ball down the field, and create more lethal options. So that is a big thing for sure. To me, heading into the draft and free agency, 2 of the biggest things they need to work on is either an O-line, like I said, protection, or an extra receiver for Justin Herbert. Not sure what they're going to do with Mike Williams. Not sure what they're going to do with Hunter Henry. I hope they keep both of them for Justin Herbert's sake. Mike Williams really isn't very consistent, but he does have a lot of big plays and does come up big at the times you need him most, it seems like. So I do think he's worth keeping, at least giving one more year, give him one more shot. Hunter Henry, not the greatest tight end in the league, but he's one of the most consistent and most efficient tight ends in the league. He's there when you need him. He's a great safety blanket for Justin Herbert, and I think Hunter Henry would be a great re-signing for them. However, if they don't re-sign him, I think it'd be good to look at possibly in the draft maybe Kyle Pitts to replace Hunter Henry. Kyle Pitts he's not even a receiver, he's not a tight end, he's just a great offensive player. Put him anywhere and he'll get the ball and get in the end zone. So that's a great option if they picked him up, along with Devontae Smith, Heisman winner, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, we know, has amazing talent, and if probably wasn't out this year, would probably be the number 1 receiver in this draft. To me, him being out this year, this could lower his draft stock and give the Chargers a good chance of picking him up, just because there's a little risk factor not knowing how he is after being out so long. So I do think that could possibly help the Chargers get in the position of Jalen Waddle, but also O-line is needed as well. Penei Sewell will probably be out of out of question. He's going to be the number 1 lineman. Chargers don't pick to like number 12, so I think the Dolphins or the Bengals, the Falcons, or the Jets, or someone will scoop up Penei Sewell before the Chargers are sure. But there's still options between, such as Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, or even in free agency they could pick up. I wrote it down. Trent Williams for the 49ers, or Russell Okung for the Carolina Panthers. Side note, Russell Okung actually asked the Panthers to pay him half his salary in Bitcoin. That's a little interesting. I'm not sure how that works, and if the Chargers want to sign him, if they'll agree to that. It's a little strange, but it is what it is. Maybe he knows something we don't. So there's definitely options in free agency if come draft time in the first round they want to get that locked down. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts to execute their receiving core. Either way, in my opinion, if they're going to draft a receiver or tight end in the draft, then they need to pick up a O-lineman in free agency. If they're going to draft an O-lineman in the draft, they need to pick up a receiver in free agency, whether it be trading for Julio Jones, picking up Will Fuller, picking up Chris Godwin for the Bucs. Those guys are a little expensive, and I know the Chargers aren't just playing with millions and salary cap here and hundreds of $1,000,000, but they do have a little bit to spare and cut corners at some point, and they can get a big name, at least one solid name this offseason for sure in free agency. Like I said, they draft a receiver, pick up a O-lineman in free agency, and then vice versa. If they decide to draft an O-lineman, pick up a receiver in free agency. Defense, it would be nice to add some guys to the secondary and the pass rush, paying Joey Bosa $100 million, get him someone else to give him help with. He's taken up 2 of the 5 O-linemen himself. He's always pretty much double blocked. Give him another guy that can get around the edge and get to the quarterback. I seriously think this could be a lethal Chargers team when they're healthy. To me, first round priority is definitely a receiver or protection, but second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round, definitely work on that defense. Add an additional piece to the receiving core, add an additional piece to the protection, and I think the Chargers have a lot of potential here. Will there be picking up Eric Bieniemy, drafting Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, giving Justin Herbert an extra second, and then maybe having Brian Bulaga and Trey Turner bounce back and have health. Finally has a good O-line to rely on, has time in the pocket, isn't always pressured. That fixes your O-line problem. Second, third round, pick up a solid receiver that can develop. That helps him sit behind Keenan Allen to learn from. So between Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, those are Justin Herbert's 2 main guys. Then Mike Williams, the new rookie, re-sign Hunter Henry, and that offense is lethal. Get the defense, draft a corner, draft a safety, draft an edge rusher in the 3rd round, and you're looking at an ultimate team that I think can go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs, assuming injuries aren't a problem, assuming they're healthy. Derwin James, we know he's a top safety in the league. He just has to stay healthy, and I think the Chargers are going to be a great playoff team next year, assuming they stay healthy, assuming they sign a good head coach, and assuming they address what they need to. They don't have a lot of problems. Like I said, a lot of teams are starting from scratch, such as the New York Jets, such as the Jacksonville Jaguars, such as the Atlanta Falcons. Houston Texans, they're all at rock bottom here. The Chargers, they're just 1 or 2 pieces away, and I think the Chargers have a lot of potential if they just make a couple of the right moves in this offseason. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If I have some good predictions of what the Chargers should do, what you think they should do, 2 in the morning.